Stop everything you're doing and listen to this sound. That's the sound of a sneeze building. Now imagine if all 8 billion people on Earth did this at exactly the same moment. Not just a regular sneeze, but the biggest, most powerful sneeze every human could possibly produce. What I'm about to tell you will make you never think about sneezing the same way again. This isn't just about a funny sound, we're talking about a potential atmospheric catastrophe that could be heard from space. First, let's understand what we're dealing with. The average human sneeze travels at about 160 kilometers per hour and expels around 40,000 droplets at once. But we're not talking about average sneezes here. We're talking about the most powerful sneeze every person could produce, the kind that makes your eyes water, your ears pop, and your entire body convulse. Now multiply that by 8 billion people. That's 8 billion pairs of lungs suddenly expelling air at hurricane speeds, all at the exact same microsecond. But here's what makes this scenario absolutely terrifying from a physics perspective: it's not just about the sound. We're talking about a synchronized atmospheric event that has never occurred in Earth's 4.5 billion year history. Let's start with the most obvious effect, the sound. A single powerful sneeze produces about 60 decibels. But sound doesn't just add up linearly, it compounds exponentially. 8 billion synchronized sneezes would create a sound wave measuring approximately 200 decibels. To put that in perspective, that's louder than a rocket launch, louder than a nuclear explosion, and approaching the theoretical limit of what air molecules can even transmit. This sound would be audible from the International Space Station. Astronauts would literally hear Earth sneeze from 400 kilometers above the planet. But here's where it gets truly catastrophic. Sound waves this powerful don't just make noise, they become physical forces that can shatter windows, trigger earthquakes, and cause structural damage to buildings worldwide. Every glass surface on the planet, windows, mirrors, smartphone screens, would simultaneously crack or shatter from the acoustic shock wave. But the sound is just the beginning. 8 billion people simultaneously expelling air creates something far more dangerous, a massive, instantaneous change in atmospheric pressure. Think about it, every human on Earth suddenly pushes out approximately 1 liter of air at 160 kilometers per hour. That's 8 billion liters of air suddenly displaced in a single moment. This creates what scientists call a pressure pulse, essentially an artificial atmospheric bomb that ripples around the entire planet. Weather systems would be instantly disrupted. Clouds would be blown apart or compressed. Barometric pressure would fluctuate wildly, potentially triggering storms, clearing skies, or creating entirely new weather patterns. Aircraft in flight would experience sudden turbulence as the pressure wave hits them. Pilots worldwide would report the most inexplicable atmospheric disturbance in aviation history. But here's the really disturbing part: this pressure wave would reflect off the upper atmosphere and bounce back down, creating secondary and tertiary pressure waves that continue circling the Earth for hours. Now let's talk about what 8 billion people are actually expelling: droplets. Each sneeze releases about 40,000 microscopic droplets containing everything from water vapor to bacteria to dead skin cells. 8 billion people times 40,000 droplets equals 320 trillion droplets suddenly released into Earth's atmosphere. That's enough liquid to create a temporary fog bank that would be visible from space. But these aren't just water droplets. We're talking about the combined biological material from every human on Earth. 8 billion different immune systems worth of bacteria, viruses, and genetic material mixing in the atmosphere. This creates what epidemiologists would call the ultimate superspreader event. Every airborne pathogen from every person on Earth suddenly dispersed into a global atmospheric soup. The common cold, flu viruses, and countless other respiratory infections would achieve instant worldwide distribution. We'd essentially create a biological reset button for global health. But there's an even more bizarre consequence: the sheer volume of organic matter being expelled would temporarily increase the density of Earth's lower atmosphere. Here's something no one would expect: 8 billion synchronized sneezes could actually trigger earthquakes. When 8 billion people simultaneously contract their diaphragms and expel air, they're not just moving air, they're moving their entire bodies. Each person experiences a brief but powerful full-body convulsion. 8 billion people, each weighing an average of 60 kilograms, all moving downward simultaneously due to the force of their sneeze. That's 480 billion kilograms of mass suddenly shifting. While this wouldn't cause major earthquakes, it would create measurable seismic activity. Earthquake monitoring stations worldwide would detect this synchronized human movement as a minor but distinct seismic event. Scientists studying the data afterward would be baffled. They'd see a seismic signature unlike anything in geological history, too organized to be natural, too widespread to be man-made infrastructure. In areas with unstable geology, this synchronized movement could be just enough to trigger actual landslides or minor earthquakes that were already on the verge of happening. But humans aren't the only ones who would be affected. The sudden acoustic and atmospheric shock would create absolute pandemonium in the animal kingdom. Birds worldwide would be knocked off their flight paths. Migratory flocks would scatter in confusion as the pressure wave disrupts their navigation and the sound wave disorients their hearing. Dogs and cats, with their sensitive hearing, would experience the equivalent of acoustic trauma. Every pet on Earth would simultaneously panic, creating a secondary wave of chaos as billions of animals try to hide or flee. Marine life wouldn't escape either. The pressure wave would transmit through the oceans, creating underwater acoustic disturbances that would confuse whales, dolphins, and other marine mammals who rely on echolocation. Bees and other insects would lose their navigation abilities temporarily. Hives worldwide would experience mass confusion as the acoustic shock disrupts their communication systems. The ecological ripple effects would last for days as wildlife populations struggle to reorient themselves after this unprecedented global disturbance. Meanwhile, the humans who caused this chaos would be dealing with their own immediate consequences. 8 billion people simultaneously experiencing the most powerful sneeze of their lives would create some unexpected problems. That much simultaneous physical exertion would leave many people temporarily dizzy or disoriented. Imagine the most powerful sneeze you've ever had, then multiply the physical impact. Emergency services worldwide would be overwhelmed with calls about the mysterious glass-breaking sound, the unexplained atmospheric disturbance, and millions of people experiencing simultaneous dizziness. Social media would explode with confusion. #GlobalSneeze would trend worldwide within minutes as people try to figure out if everyone else experienced the same thing. Scientists would scramble to explain the seismic readings, the atmospheric disturbance, and the acoustic anomaly. It would take days to piece together that a synchronized sneeze caused global chaos. So there you have it, the global synchronized sneeze paradox. What seems like a simple, silly bodily function becomes a worldwide catastrophe when multiplied by 8 billion people. We'd shatter glass worldwide, disrupt weather patterns, create a biological superspreader event, trigger minor earthquakes, traumatize every animal on Earth, and create the loudest sound in human history. The ultimate irony. This global disaster would be caused by humanity's most involuntary, uncontrollable reflex. We literally couldn't help ourselves. Next time you feel a sneeze coming on, just be grateful that 7,999,999,999 other people aren't doing it at exactly the same moment. Because that single achoo has the power to change the world. What other seemingly harmless human activities could cause global chaos if everyone did them simultaneously? Let me know in the comments below, and remember to subscribe for more investigations into the impossible scenarios that keep me awake at night.